How's it going, everyone? Want to give you guys an update on a PlayStation Plus Premium title, a PlayStation Plus Premium Classics title that is one of the better editions for sure, and it's getting a pretty notable update, so we'll talk about that. And one of the lower PJRPG releases of the year may potentially be getting a sequel. Unicorn Overlord, a game was great. We'll talk that in a little bit. Vanillaware. Their consistency is kind of ridiculous, and they once again dropped another great title. We'll talk that again in a little bit, but first of all, Resistance Retribution is getting a brand new patch, and with that, there's new additions to the game. There's literally new content being added to a PSP Classics title on PlayStation Plus Premium. Well, let's talk about it. So patch 1.02 fix the last story trophy not popping up upon completion of the mission for some players. General bug fixes, like just like Grayson, gotta smash those alien bugs. And new, we added the highly requested Infected mode back to Resistance Retribution. Playing in Infected mode, James Grayson will wear the Black Spectre uniform with glowing Chimera eyes. As Grayson, you now possess regenerative health and can breathe underwater. Plus, there is more intel to find and a shiny new weapon to use, and they added DLC trophy pack for the Infected mode as well. Yes, you read that right. Not only did we add Infected mode, but we're bringing you 3 additional trophies to earn. Some new content for Resistance Retribution. If you're not familiar with it, Resistance Retribution was released on the PSP back in March of 2009. It was in this era that, I'm talking about it from a personal standpoint, but at that point, early 2009, the PSP was kind of positioned as the cast-off. It wasn't something that Sony was as much prioritizing as they initially were, but if you were following the console while it wasn't being promoted that much, there was this bevy of great games coming out, and Resistance Retribution came out in March of 2009, and I believe IGN gave the game like a 9.2, and review scores are what they are, but like, I was of the mindset that for a portable game, Resistance Retribution was fantastic. I'm thinking about it, back in 2009, the PSP one analog stick making a game like Resistance Retribution was a little bit on the difficult side, but man, they did a great job with it, and that's why Ben Studio, to me, is this studio that I expect so much from, and it's a little bit of a shame that they have been MIA for a while. Resistance Retribution, Uncharted Golden Abyss, Days Gone, for what it was, I thought it was great, even though it had its issues, and obviously there's a plethora of people that wanted Days Gone too, but that era where Resistance Retribution came out on the PSP, one of my favorite eras in gaming. Maybe it's because it was 2009, and that year in gaming is just beloved to me. Like, that's probably my most nostalgic year in gaming in general, 2009, Dissidia Final Fantasy as well. But yes, Resistance Retribution available now on PlayStation Plus Premium. It's one of those games that I think if you go back and play it at this stage of the game, obviously, if you're exposed to it for the first time, you're gonna realize it's a game from 2009. Not only that, it's a game from 2009 designed for the PSP. You have to keep your expectations in line. And by the way, outside of on PlayStation Plus Premium, you could buy it standalone for $9.99, which for $9.99, I think Resistance Retribution is a damn good pickup. The campaign's fairly short, so keep that in mind, but I thought the game was great, and I definitely would give it a look. Moving on from that, another game that I thought was great earlier this year, came out about a month ago, Unicorn Overlord from Atlus and Vanillaware. Vanillaware, it was interesting because we hadn't heard from them for a little while after the release of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and I want to say 13 Sentinels came out back in 2019 or 2020. It's been a little while, and then they finally announced Unicorn Overlord, and then it was coming out pretty quickly after its announcement, and came out last month, and man, this game was a pretty well-done tactics-based title. Tactics-based games have never been up my alley, of course, but I was still gonna give Unicorn Overlord a shot because, first of all, Vanillaware, every single one of their games I've enjoyed to a different extent, but 13 Sentinels I thought was phenomenal, and guess what? 13 Sentinels was another game where I didn't think that highly about the actual gameplay and the battling in that game. What I thought the strength of 13 Sentinels was the soundtrack, the story, the visuals, the characters, and once again, with Unicorn Overlord, those aforementioned elements all at a top level. And now, Atlus has put out a survey that asked the question, do you plan on purchasing any sequels to Unicorn Overlord if they were made? Why I find this fascinating is the fact that they're asking this question is rather interesting. Vanillaware, correct me if I'm wrong, has never done a sequel for a game. Odin Sphere didn't get a sequel, Muramasa didn't get a sequel, Dragon's Crown didn't get a sequel, 13 Sentinels didn't get a sequel. And Unicorn Overlord, we'll see if it gets a sequel, but they've never done a sequel for a game, which I do find kind of interesting. They have this style of game creation that is so synonymous with their game development, but at the same time, they've never done a follow-up title to any of their games, which I do find interesting. A sequel to Unicorn Overlord, I think, would do fairly well. The game itself, 500,000 copies sold, which for a lower-key JRPG release like this, 500,000 copies, guys, nothing to scoff at, in my opinion. Very successful number, especially given that we are coming in a period where it came out a week, 1 week after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You could have not picked a worse time to put out a game. I don't know if it was an instance of they wanted to get the game out before the fiscal year wrapped up. I don't know what the deal was. It's just definitely not the ideal time to put out a game like this, but a game like Unicorn Overlord is going to attract a more niche audience anyway, so the people that are going to buy it are probably going to get it anyway, but still, 500,000 copies sold, I think, is exceptional. And by the way, I really do think this idea of so many big games coming out at the same time and them conflicting with one another, they might hinder each other's sales, but if you look at this year and look at the commercial numbers all of these games have pulled, they've all done very well. The only one you can look at doing a little bit disappointing, some people are trying to paint it as doing disappointing, is FF7 Rebirth, because it's down from FF7 Remake. Yeah, it's a direct sequel. You need to play Remake, so the game was never going to do as well as Remake. By the way, Remake came out in 2020 towards the end of the PlayStation 4's life when so many more PS4s were out in the wild than PS5s were. Like, basic common sense would tell you that Rebirth was not going to do as well as FF7 Remake. That's just how these things go. And again, you have to complete Remake before you play Rebirth. At least 99% of people that want to play Rebirth, they have it in their mind, they gotta beat Remake first. So come on, guys. Like, scoffing at Rebirth's performance commercially, I just think is weird. But Persona 3 Reload, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, all three of those games have seemingly done exceptionally well from a commercial standpoint. Unicorn Overlord, for what it is, has done fairly well from a commercial standpoint, so hopefully that is well enough for, first of all, Vanillaware, to fund your next game. I get it. It seems like you guys are always going to damn near go out of business with by the time a game wraps up development, so hopefully that'll fund them for a little while. Atlas did publish this game. I think you guys would do it. It would do you guys very well. I get it. Vanillaware, probably the higher-ups, I don't know what the deal is. They don't want to release this game on PC. I'm not selling the game would sell 1 million copies on PC, but would it sell another 100,000, 150,000 copies on PC? You're damn right, I think it would, and PC is a platform where it's just going to get residual sales for a long, long time, and you're talking about all digital sales. You're going to make good money by releasing this game on PC, and I just don't know why they won't do it. You know, maybe it's just one of those Japanese studios type things. I know there are Japanese studios out there that don't want to put their games on PC for whatever reason, but that trend has been bucking for quite a bit, and Atlas themselves wanted to put the game on PC, and Atlas for a long time didn't want to put any of their games on PC, but they were the ones that were all for Unicorn Overlord getting a PC release, but it was a developer decision, a Vanillaware decision, that prevented the game to be on PC, and I really want to know what that conversation is like between Atlas, because I'm sure Atlas brought up the topic of bringing the game to PC, and then Vanillaware pushed back on it, which is just so strange to me. That's some absolute archaic thinking if that's what's actually going down. You're just hindering your own performance. You're hindering the appeal of a game like this. You're hindering the success level of a game like this, and why do that? You're releasing this game on Xbox! I guarantee you this game sold like 30,000 copies on Xbox or something like that. Like, what are we doing here? But nonetheless, I don't know what's up with that, but hopefully that'll get situated at some point. And a Unicorn Overlord 2, or a follow-up title, or a title exploring some of the other characters, because Overlord's roster is quite vast. There's a lot of characters in it, so they can do a lot with Unicorn Overlord as an IP. But that'll do it for me. Again, Resistance Retribution, getting a patch that is available on PlayStation Plus Premium. Go check that out. Very nostalgic with that game. Loved it back in the day. And now it's available on Plus Premium with the Infected mode. And Unicorn Overlord, potential sequel. We'll see how that ultimately turns out. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.